Well, the things that stick out in my mind when you think about the gardens, and I was only 7 years old when the gardens was closed, the roller coaster was always terrifying for me. You'd wait in line, and it wasn't a line, like you see now in the amusement parks, but it'd be 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so, and then you'd wait, and the anticipation would build, and then you would, of course, then there'd be a moment of regret about the time you got on the boardwalk and we're just getting into the cars. You'd start thinking, oh, maybe I don't want to go. And then you'd go, and then the big thing that I remember is the tension building as you'd click, 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 click up the first big hill, and then you'd be terrified up until down the first thing, and then that was the worst one. The first downhill slope was the worst, and then you'd race around, and it'd almost be like, I don't know, maybe 90 seconds or so, and then you'd be getting off, and you'd have the adrenaline rush, and then you'd want to go again, and you'd go a couple times, but then the next time you got up again, you'd still have that moment of think, oh, I don't think I want to go. And that's what I remember the most about the roller coaster, is going with my sisters and having the emotional swings where you can't wait to get there, and then all of a sudden you don't want to be there, and then it's almost over because you're all jazzed up with adrenaline, and then you're waiting to go back again. So that was one thing that I remember. And then the thing I remember most about the boardwalk is the electric shock machine there, and I think you put a penny in it or a nickel in it, and it would turn on for a period of time, and people would grab the handles and join hands, and then somebody would always get shocked, and it was always amazing to me that the people who weren't necessarily touching the machine were getting shocked sometimes, and I never was the brightest candle on the cake, and I never could figure out why they were getting shocked or anything at that point. And it probably shows a little lack of intelligence when you're paying a penny or a nickel. I can't remember what it was, but to actually get electrocuted for, it probably wasn't the greatest idea. But that's one of the things, and I was always terrified of that after I got shocked a couple times. But you were terrified of it at one point, but then you were always attracted to it a little bit too. And I can't even remember the people I did it with, but it was friends from the Emerson School. I remember we never could figure out why the person who wasn't even touching it was getting shocked. And that's what scared us about that. And then, of course, the last thing I remember real clearly is the water fountains. And they'd always be running and the water would be ice cold, but that wasn't the feature that I really liked. It was if you could put your thumb over it and build up the pressure and then spray people around. And sometimes you knew who they were and sometimes you didn't, but it was mostly my targets were my sister and my parents.